Tallmadge Doyle starts her afternoon at the Cascade Raptor Center in Eugene. As an artist in need of inspiration, she knows what to do.
I just kind of let go of the old and the new comes in. I just kind of wait and see what I'm interested in. And right now, I went to the Raptor Center and saw these incredible raptors, one in particular that I'm in love with, the Eurasian eagle owl, Dimitri, and I just was so fascinated with him, I had to start drawing him. And he was just one of the most beautiful creatures.
Drawing Dimitri led her to an interest in learning more about owls.
Just looking at this beautiful owl, there's something that's, indescribable that science can't really define, or we can't really define in words, but it's almost mystical, just the beauty of this creature. And it's just fascinating how he functions.
In more than 2 decades as a printmaker, Tallmadge has created many distinctive series.
Since I do a lot of etching, people usually recognize my work as etching. And many of my prints tend to actually look like they're old, like they might be antique, but on closer inspection you can see that they're not. My work always has an element of the natural world, nature, whether it be plants or animals, and also an element of science and history. So the subject matter of science and history always creeps in there in some way.
These themes are evident in her most recent project, a public art installation at the Ford Alumni Center at the University of Oregon.
That took place over the period of about 10 months. I etched and painted and sealed 21 copper plates of images of flora and fauna of the Northwest.
Usually, Tallmadge exhibits prints that she makes from the copper plates. This project is unusual because it's her etched copper plates that are on permanent display.
It was really interesting. It was the first time I did a large project that I didn't know what it was going to look like at the very end until the day I installed it. But the day I installed it was a great day. I was very happy because all of a sudden I could see it. It was like nothing I'd ever done before, where, I do etchings for a show and you could see it come along and the whole process. It was a brand new process, etching plates for a public art project. So it was a whole new ball of wax.
With the installation finished, Tallmadge doesn't know what direction her work will take.
Earlier in my career, I would definitely have anxiety about that. Oh, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? But as the years go by and the work progresses, I feel like the ideas just multiply. So there's no question of, oh no, what am I going to do? It's what am I going to choose to do? All these options. This stage is really very much about inventing the image and imagining the possibilities about what the image could be and imagining the different directions that I want the series to go through. Because I'm not just creating one image here, I'm creating a whole series of images from probably 5 or 6 plates. So this is definitely the imagination stage. I collect all kinds of books with images about science, about astronomy, alchemy, birds. I like looking at other artists' prints that I'm very interested in because it makes me expand my repertoire of technique and push myself to get out of habits that I've acquired. We all as artists acquire habits, and just sort of expand, loosen up, do things in different ways, different light quality, different kinds of line.
Drawing was her first love and her undergraduate degree from the Cleveland Art Institute. She moved to Eugene more than 20 years ago for a graduate degree in printmaking. The detail in her work makes some people presume she's a scientist.
I definitely do not have a scientific background at all. But I've always been fascinated with the way things work, the way things connect together, with the way things function together in nature. And I think that's where my interest in science comes into the work.
Without knowing if the imagination stage will last days or weeks, Tallmadge sketches and researches, waiting for inspiration to arrive. After all these years, she trusts that her exploration is as important as the destination.
Scientists, for example, will work and experiment. And when they stumble upon discoveries, sometimes it's a surprise, and the same is true with printmaking. Sometimes there's really interesting surprises that happen on the plate.
She's still months away from making an actual print, applying ink to an etched plate, rolling it through a press, and revealing the image. She looks forward to that experience every time.
I've been doing this process over 20 years, and still, every time I peel the paper off the copper plate to see the image, it is still a surprise. Sometimes a good surprise, sometimes not a good surprise, but it's always a surprise.
Oregon Artbeat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.